to convert the fine to 45 hours of community service to be completed at a rate of 6 hours per week, 0 tolerance for 90 days, a substance abuse evaluation would be due within 30 days, and to follow any recommendations. The next report date would be in person on January 31st of 2024 between the hours of 1 and 5.
Okay, 2 questions, Mr. Baker. Number 1, do you admit to the violations?
Yes, sir.
And is that recommendation acceptable to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think that is the appropriate recommendation, and I am going to adopt it and make it, given your admission, I'm going to find that is the appropriate recommendation, and I am going to follow it and make it the order of this court. So,
Yes, sir.
All right, so get that restitution done so I can mark that off the list. And if you will step out that way and step out into the hallway, but do not leave until the bailiffs bring you your order to sign, and they're going to give you a copy before you leave.
Yes, sir.
All right, so if you step back that way, wait out in the hallway for the bailiffs, please. And I should say for the record that the virtual system is up, and there is no one should be in the virtual system, but no one's in the virtual system. Okay. All right, Dennis. All right, please raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, take your hand down, state your full name for me.
Tyler Dennis.
All right, Mr. Dennis, you are here today on 22 TK 5309 because your sentence enforcement supervisor has filed paperwork with the clerk alleging that you're out of compliance with your probation. Do you understand what you're doing here today?
Yes.
And you have the right to have an attorney represent you, and you're here representing yourself. Is that what you want to do?
Correct.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
All right, Dick, do I recommend to use your previous testimony? Go ahead.
Judge, on 22 TK 5309, the defendant is alleged to have violated the terms and conditions of probation in the following. The defendant failed to report to probation as directed, having missed 2 of 7 scheduled appointments. The defendants failed to pay the court fine and fees as ordered or utilize community service work in lieu of the court fine, being in arrears $605. The recommendation on this case is to report weekly for the duration, payments of $175 weekly, convert the court fine to 36 hours of community service, to be completed at a rate of 18 hours per week, 0 tolerance for the duration of active probation. The next report date would be in person on January 31st between the hours of 1 and 5.
Okay, 2 questions. Do you admit to the violations?
Yes.
And is that recommendation acceptable?
Yes.
Okay, I agree. I think it is a good recommendation. Don't forget, your case is terminated upon completion, so
Right.
the moment you can get all your boxes checked, your case will close, and I'll see you around town and not back in here,
All
okay?
right, thanks.
All right, any questions?
That'll be all.
All right, if you'll step out in the hallway, grab a seat out there, wait for the bailiffs, don't leave till they come see you. All right, while we're doing that, Coleman, he'll start wandering up. All right, you got them dialed in. All right, next case is Ms. Coleman. Is it Laquita?
Yes, sir.
All right, so again, you ended up not on the calendar, but that's no fault of your own. We had a lot of moving parts and didn't get the clerk quite notified that we needed it on here, but you're here today on 22 SR 0708. Raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, state your full name.
Laquita Coleman.
You can take your hand down. Ms. Coleman, you're here today because your sentence enforcement supervisor has filed paperwork alleging that you're out of compliance with your probation. You understand what you're doing here today?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to have an attorney represent you, and you're here representing yourself. Is that
Yes,
what
sir.
you want to do?
Yes.
All right, you ready? All right, Director Matthews, you're previously sworn. Go ahead.
Judge, on 22 SR 0708, the defendant is alleged to have violated the terms and conditions of probation in the following. The defendant has failed to pay restitution, being in arrears the amount of $278 with a restitution balance of $500. The defendant has failed to pay the court fine and fees as ordered or utilize community service work in lieu of the court fine, being in arrears $697. The recommendation on this case is for her to report as directed, payments of $106 biweekly, to convert the fine to 56 hours of community service at a rate of 8 hours per week. I apologize, the payments would be $85 biweekly for restitution, $106 for probation fees, for a total biweekly payment of $191. Zero tolerance for 180 days. Her next report date would be on January 31st between the hours of 1 and 5.
Okay. So 2 questions. Do you admit to the violations?
I do.
And is that recommendation acceptable?
The probation as far as community service. Yes.
Okay.
I brought documentation to show my reason for not being able to pay. I am currently dealing with a eviction situation from my job, VTOing hours, basically from November to up until now. I work for a company called Care, which we transport Medicare and Medicaid members.
Yes.
And around open enrollment season, a lot of our members lose their benefits, so the job volume gets kind of slow, so they start VTOing. I have proof of sick documents from me and my children getting between strep and flu from December up until January, so I've been missing hours at work, so my checks have been a little short, which is why I'm behind on my rent. Trying to take care of that and cover that. My car broke down literally a week after we moved into our new place in October. I didn't get that fixed until the end of November. I do work from home, but I still have to transport my kids to school back and forth. So it's been a few things going on, personally for me that's been keeping me from making payments. When I originally wanted to sign up for the community service, my car broke down. Car is in the shop now. It should be fixed next week. So moving forward, I can do the community service. I'm off on Thursdays and Fridays, so the 8 hours I can take care of that. That works. Payment wise, after I get this rent taken care of, moving forward, February, I know it'll be tax season. I can pay as much as I can and continue with community service.
Okay.
If you guys will work with me on that.
All right. Now, what you're saying you need and what they just said they're going to do are the same thing.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Oh, I know. I just want to make sure you hear me say that what you're asking for is what they're recommending. So
Okay.
this is going to work.
Okay.
So, all right, you can follow the recommendation because the goal was to get you in a place where the restitution gets priority. And, we're a $0 court other than restitution. So, so you will be able to resolve your other matters in non-financial ways.
And question with reporting, am I still reporting online or do I need to come in during the week to report?
You're reporting in person until you're back in full compliance.
Okay.
And then they'll make that decision.
Am I able to report on Thursdays and Fridays? Because I work Sunday through Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. Would Thursday and Fridays be able, I can come into the office to report?
Yeah, we can do Thursday, which would be February 1st.
Okay, that's
Thursday
perfect for
afternoon.
me. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, it's in the afternoons. Okay. All right, if you will step out into the hallway.
Thank you.
And, you're very welcome. And like I said, what you're asking for and what they're offering are the same thing, and I'm gonna make it an order. Okay, this was Coleman. Harris?
The documentation you requested.
All right, please raise your right hand. I solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right, state your full name for me.
Terrence Harris.
All right, Mr. Harris, you are here today on 22 TK 1920 because your sentence enforcement supervisor has filed paperwork alleging that you are out of compliance with your probation. Do you understand what you're doing here today?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to have an attorney represent you, and you're here representing yourself. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
You ready to go forward?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Director Matthews, you're previously sworn. Go ahead.
Judge, on 22 TK 1920, The defendant is alleged to have violated the terms and conditions of probation in the following. The defendants failed to report to probation as directed, having missed 3 of 7 scheduled appointments. The defendants failed to pay the court fine and fees as ordered, or utilize community service work in lieu of the court fine, being in arrears $491. The recommendation on this case is for him to report in person weekly for the duration, payments of $119 weekly, to convert the court fine to 61 hours of community service, to be completed at a rate of 16 hours per week, 0 tolerance for the duration of active probation. His next report date would be on January 31st between the hours of 1 and 5.
Okay. 2 questions. Do you admit to the violations?
Yes, sir.
And is that recommendation acceptable?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I agree. I think it's the appropriate resolution to get your case back on track, which is our goal, and we want to see you succeed here. Okay, well then, I'm gonna make that the order of the court. Any questions before we part ways?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if you will step out in the hallway and wait for the bailiffs. You gotta go that way. They get on to me when you come forward ever since that guy jumped over the bench in Vegas. So, all right, thank you very much.
Clint would attack him here.
Do I?
Clint would attack him here. We tried that here.
Flying trapeze. You got it, man. All right, so that's Harris. Next one is Lampkin. All right, if you'll please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right, take your hand down, state your full name for me.
Darius Lincoln.
All right, Mr. Lampkin, you are here because you're participating in our pretrial diversion program, and your sentence enforcement supervisor has filed paperwork with the court alleging that you are out of compliance with your pretrial contract. Can you tell me what you're doing here today?
Yes, sir.
You have a right to have an attorney represent you, and you're here representing yourself. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
You ready to go forward?
Yes.
Okay. I need you to know there's 2 factors here. One is whether or not you violated it, and if so, what should I do? And then second, do I want to leave you in the pretrial diversion program or not? I'm just making sure you understand there's 2 layers to your hearing where there's 1 layer in the others. Okay? All right, go ahead.
Well,
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was directing that.
Judge, on 23 TK 0084, the defendant is alleged to have violated the terms and conditions of the pretrial program in the following. The defendant failed to report to the probation officer as directed, having missed 4 of 7 scheduled appointments. The defendant failed to pay the court fines and fees as ordered or utilize community service work in lieu of the court fine, being in arrears $91. The recommendation on this case is to report as directed, payments of $38 per week, to convert the fine to 13 hours a week, to be completed at 6 hours per week, 0 tolerance for the duration. His next report date would be in person on January 31st of 2024 between the hours of 1 and 5.
Okay. 2 questions. Do you admit to the violations?
I do.
And is that recommendation acceptable?
Yes.
Okay. All right, good. Well, then I'm going to leave you in the pretrial program for now. Don't come back, okay? Get this thing back on track.
I got you.
All right, then if you will step out into the hallway, wait for the bailiffs. They'll bring out your order in a minute for you to sign. All right, Mr. Moore, please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right, take your hand down, state your full name for me.
Clarence Moore Jr.
All right, and Mr. Moore, you are here today on 23 TK 25 because your sentence enforcement supervisors filed paperwork with me alleging that you are out of compliance with your probation. I understand what you're doing here today.
Indeed.
You ready to go forward?
Yes.
All right. Director Matthews, you're previously sworn. The floor is yours when you're ready.
Judge, on 23 TK 0025, the defendant is alleged to have violated the terms and conditions of probation in the following. The defendants failed to report to probation as directed, having missed 3 of 5 scheduled appointments. The defendants failed to pay the court fine and fees as ordered, or utilize community service work in lieu of the court fine, being in arrears $230. The recommendation on this case is for him to report to probation in person weekly for the duration, payments of $32 weekly, convert the fine to 46 hours of community service, to be completed at a rate of 8 hours per week, 0 tolerance for the duration of active probation. Next report date would be in person on January 31st of 2024 between 1 and 5.
Okay, 2 questions. Do you admit to the violations?
Yes, sir.
And is that recommendation acceptable?
Everything except community service.
Okay, what do you want to do differently?
I would like to. Okay, 605 is what I owe.
I think it's 655.
655.
Yeah, it's $655. The next month of supervision fees were added yesterday.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask in the midst of me asking for. Because I can pay 2 a week and have it covered. Because I'm just not having like a financial breakthrough where I can be able to pay things down. Had like a little setback last 4 to 6 months, auto break-in and being one and divorce being the other one.
Well, it's converting per week. So what you're asking me for is built into what's about to happen because it's converting, right? Am I correct? Or am I missing? Is this one per week or is this one just convert?
It's just convert, Judge.
That's what I missed. Okay.
We're getting low on time, Judge.
Yeah.
And he's been on probation for 246 days. In those 246 days, we've only received 2 payments.
Right.
So typically in these cases, the likelihood that they'll be financially taken care of. I mean, if the court's willing to entertain a suspension of the recommendation for 30 days, I'd be willing to possibly entertain that. If you are within those 30 days, if the case isn't closed, then I would request that the order that I just stated become the order of the court.
Well, I think we did, last time we did it where it was after their next report date. They had to.
Well, Mr. Moore is saying it's going to take him approximately 3 pay periods to get it done.
2
He's
more.
saying-
2, I'm gonna make a payment today and then 2 more.
Within 30 days?
Yes, sir.
I think it's going to take him a little bit longer than your standard.
How much time is that?
He has 119 days.
Does that mess you up?
No, I can accommodate. I've worked with Mr. Moore before.
Okay.
He just needs extra encouragement.
Okay, all right, well, so you're not coming back for a hearing. I'm gonna do exactly what they're asking me to do, but I'm gonna delay the implementation by 30 days. 30 days from now, whatever's left will be converted. You'll be walking a very fine line to either get it done or I'm gonna issue a warrant. You with me?
Indeed.
Okay, that's the extra encouragement. So, okay, I'm sure you're gonna do fine. Like Director Matthews said, you usually pull it out in the end, so. All right, if you'll wait out in the hallway.
Basically, what I typically do is I'll get a copy of it. Unless y'all just want it. I just need a copy of the files on it.
Will you file this with Erica? Will you file this with Erica? Get her to stamp it and make 2 copies.
The original go to the law division for hours. And so since copies of the originals. Yes. Just need a copy. No, you're fine.
It's just different with Superior Court.
Yes, sir.
I don't need warrants in Superior Court.
You're here today on 22 SR 0495 because your sentence enforcement supervisors filed paperwork with the clerk alleging that you're out of compliance with your probation. Do you understand what you're doing here today?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to have an attorney represent you, and you're here representing yourself. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Director Matthews, you're previously sworn, and the floor is yours.
Judge, on 22 SR 0495, the defendant is alleged to have violated the terms and conditions of probation in the following. The defendant's failed to report to probation as directed, having missed 4 of 7 scheduled appointments. The defendant's failed to pay the court fine and fees as ordered or utilize community service work, being in arrears $628. The recommendation on this case is to report weekly until the case closes, payments of $45 a week, to convert the fine to 67 hours at 8 hours per week, 0 tolerance for the duration of active probation. The next report date would be in person on January 31st, 2024, between 1 and 5.
All right. 2 questions. You admit to the violations,
Yes, sir.
and is that recommendation acceptable to you?
Yes, sir.
I agree. I think that is the appropriate recommendation, and I'm happy to follow it and make it the
Can
order.
I ask you something?
You can. Go ahead.
If there's a way while I'm on probation, can I get some drug treatment?
A little slower and a little louder.
While I'm on probation, can I get some drug treatments?
Do you want me to have you do a substance abuse evaluation, and then let's figure out how to help you from there?
Yes, sir.
All right, we had a substance abuse evaluation within 30 days.
Will do.
How much time
Is
do you
30 days enough time?
We only have 96 days.
I mean, it's not part of the recommendation. Is 30 days enough time? Because I'm running short on time otherwise, so. Okay. All right, then if you will step out in the hallway and wait for the bailiffs. They have you go, yeah, they want me to have you go back to work. Thornton? All right, raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm testimony about to give this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right, state your full name for me.
Trio Tavares Thornton.
Mr. Thornton, you're here because you're participating in our pretrial intervention program on 22 SR 0508. And your sentence enforcement supervisors filed paperwork with me alleging that you were out of compliance with your pretrial intervention contract. You understand what you're doing here today?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to have an attorney represent you, and you're here representing yourself. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, Director Matthews, you're previously sworn. Go ahead.
Judge, on 22 SR 0508, the defendant is alleged to have violated the terms and conditions of the pretrial program in the following. The defendant's failed to report to the probation officer as directed, having missed 3 of 6 scheduled appointments. The defendant's failed to pay the court fine and fees as ordered, or utilize community service work in lieu of the court fine, being in arrears $600. The recommendation on this case is for him to report weekly in person, payments of $80 a week, to convert the fine to 46 hours of community service, to be completed at a rate of 8 hours per week, 0 tolerance for the duration of active probation. His next report date would be in person on January 31st of 2024, between the hours of 1 and 5. Judge, he did have surgery in November, and probation is aware of that. This hearing was scheduled because we're running out of time. There's only 84 days remaining, so we brought the case back to the court for them to decide how to proceed on this pretrial since there's no adjudication.
Okay. All right, Mr. Thornton, do you admit to the violations?
Yes, sir.
And is that recommendation acceptable?
Yes, sir.
All right, I agree. You're tight on time, so what I'm going to tell you is that you need to put your best efforts into getting this thing closed. Otherwise, I'm going to have to make a tough decision about whether or not to remove you from the program, which I'm leaving you in today, of course. But if I have to remove you from the program, I'm going to make a second decision as to whether or not to revoke your bond, because completing this program is a condition of your bond. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I think you and I are going to be just fine. I hope your surgery was successful. But I just need you to know that if you don't get these things finished, we're going to have a very difficult conversation that neither of us want to have. Fair enough?
Yes, sir.
All right. If you'll step out in the hallway and wait for the bailies, please. Wilson? All right, raise your right hand. You solemnly swear affirm the testimony about to give this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, state your full name for me.
Sierra Wilson.
Ms. Wilson, you're here today on 21 SR 1141 because your sentence enforcement supervisors filed paperwork with the clerk alleging that you're out of compliance with your probation. You understand what you're doing here today?
Yes, sir.
You understand you have the right to have an attorney represent you,
Yes, sir.
and you're here representing yourself?
Yes, sir.
Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. Wilson, you sit tight. Director Matthews, you're previously sworn. If you'll, you have the floor.
Yes, sir. Judge, on 21 SR 1141, the defendant is alleged to have violated the terms and conditions of probation in the following. The defendant failed to pay the court fines and fees as ordered or utilize community service work in lieu of the court fine, being in arrears $825. The recommendation on this case is to report to probation weekly until in full compliance, $41 a week, to convert the fine to 74 hours of community service at a rate of 8 hours per week, 0 tolerance for the duration of active probation. Next report date would be in person on January 31st of 2024 between the hours of 1 and 5. Judge, she has had some medical things recently through the case. We're aware of those. This case is running out of time. It's currently been on for 251 days, and at the point that we prepared this paperwork, no payments have been made. So that's why we brought it back to the court.
Okay. Do you admit to the violation?
Yes, sir.
And is that correction, is that recommendation acceptable to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because the goal, as you can see here, the goal isn't to punish you, it's to provide you with a pathway to get these things done. So,
I have a question. If I had her, because I've been talking to Mr. General Force Officer. I just step my end, like if I pay the $1,000 come out of next week, I go on just call the report, right?
non-report, that's what I was looking at, that you
So I can go
were,
ahead and take the $400 a day, all right? And then just pay the rest of it next Friday or Tuesday?
So you're wanting to ask the court to give you 14 days to pay the balance?
Yeah, because with my newborn, I ain't able to do community service.
She does have a newborn, and she does, that child is having some medical situations.
congratulations, and I'm sorry for the medical situation. So, Okay, well,
Judge, are you willing to entertain a 14-day suspension on the order?
yeah, I don't mind. That's, I've still got 114 days, so that'll still give me three plus months to
Yes, sir.
to circle back if this doesn't work. Okay. All right, I'm gonna delay I'm gonna follow the recommendation from the state, but I'm gonna delay the imposition of that by 14 days. We will not come back here for another hearing. Good luck with your baby. I hope your baby has a full recovery.
Thank you.
And do you need anything else from me?
No, sir.
All right, if you'll step out in the hallway, wait for the bailiffs.
Thank you.
All right, Richmond Trice, Miss Margaret, you get to hold a baby. It's your lucky day.
Yes, I've been going out seeing.
We are lucky to have you down here.
You ready for it?
Yes.
Okay. Come on.
If you'll just confidently grab that mic and pull it down to eye level there, it'll move all the way through. And say your full name for me.
So Nadia Trice Richmond.
All right, raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, so your hyphenated last name is Trice-Richmond?
Yes.
All right, we have it as Richmond-Trice, so I'm gonna swap those in our system. So, okay, you're here today because your sentence enforcement supervisor filed paperwork with the clerk alleging that you're out of compliance with your probation. Do you understand what you're doing here today?
Yes.
That's a question on the table, but I'm here to figure out if that's true or not. Do you understand that? Okay. You have the right to have an attorney represent you, and you're here representing yourself. Is that what you want to do?
Yes.
You ready?
Yes, I am. I can say something?
Yes.
Okay, the only reason why I missed 2 of my classes is because one day I got out of work late and I paid her. I even got to prove that I paid her. She wasn't in the class because she said you can't be in the class after 6:15.
Okay, hold that thought. I'm gonna get one more thing from her, and then I'm gonna circle back to you, okay?
Okay.
So I just want you to hold that thought for just a minute. All right, go ahead.
Judge, on 21 SR 2679, the defendant is alleged to have violated the terms and conditions of probation in the following. Judge, we've removed allegation A. Allegation B is the defendant's failed to complete community service hours as directed, having turned in 0 out of 69 converted hours. The defendants failed to provide proof of attending and completing family violence intervention program weekly with no interruptions as ordered by the court at a previous revocation on a previous case on May 4th of 2023. The recommendation is to report to probation as directed, community service at 8 hours a week, 0 tolerance for the duration of active probation, to attend family violence intervention program weekly with no interruptions and provide proof. Next report date would be in person on January 31st of 2024 between the hours of 1 and 5.
Okay, so couple of quick questions, and then I want to hear from you.
Okay.
So the A is gone. We're just left with the community service work, the family violence intervention, and the family violence intervention. Do you admit to those violations, or do you deny those violations?
Well, if it was for I can't miss none, then I admit. But I go to a new journey. She said she been sending it in weekly.
Okay. So have you done your community service work hours?
No, I haven't. So I need to that.
Okay. And have you completed the family violence intervention program?
I go every Friday for $40, and I missed 2 classes since November.
All right. And when are you scheduled to complete the family violence intervention program?
I don't know. I just know I got 24 weeks.
Yes.
And so tomorrow probably be like my 11th class.
Okay. All right. Well, what else? You can go fill it out. Go ahead. So tell me what else you want me to know.
The only thing is I missed 2 classes because one, I got out work late, which I don't work there anymore because they wasn't understanding that I got to do my classes. And 2, I missed another one because I didn't have the $40 that week. But I've been going, and she said she been sending it. I mean, I got the proof I've been going because I send the money on Cash App and Apple Pay every Friday. So I'm trying to get done with it. I don't have that much longer, and I like classes, so I want to complete it.
Okay, and I've got consecutive cases here, right? I've got some more cases following up after this one.
I have 2 more cases after this.
Okay. All right, well, let's go ahead. I'm gonna follow the recommendation. I've got plenty of time on this case and plenty of time on the next 2 cases to get this finished. So go ahead and get this done, okay?
Okay,
All right. Any questions?
no,
Judge, just for the court's perspective, with the family violence, because it's such a long class, I've removed the option for my staff to continue that deadline because we were significantly failing
Yes.
to monitor it. So Ms. Trice is going, she just didn't go weekly, so that's more specific of what the violation here is in this. And when they don't go weekly, then they run out of time.
Absolutely. So, okay.
She is getting it together.
All right, I can tell there's a light at the end of the tunnel here, so. All right, and your child is adorable.
thank you.
And y'all are welcome to keep the markers and as when you go out of here, so.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and here's the pad. I have an extra pad up here, Clint. All right, you're welcome to keep the pad and the markers.
Thank you.
All right. All right, so now what we're gonna do is, Vila is, Vila? All right, so that's the last case I have before we pivot to the accountability court matter. Mr. Vila, your case is actually, do you speak English?
Yeah, I speak some.
Okay, your case is actually a warrant. And so I'm gonna execute that warrant, but they're gonna come out to the jail and give you an offer to see about getting, am I correct, about getting back out or getting back on track?
We'll prepare one, send it to the solicitor, and then we would email it out for the jail staff.
So they'll send a consent order out to see about resolving it, but otherwise we'll put you on the next interpreter calendar, which will be March 5th, I believe. So, is that right, March 5th? Okay, so if you put this case on March 5th. Okay, all right, Kevin. All right, so let's go into recess. And when we come back out, you can come on up for your accountability court. That'll just, Matt, just talk to them, and that's it. All right, so I'm going to call us back to order. This is going to be the continuation of the accountability court hearing. We're here today because the state has filed a motion to remove Ms. Claxton from the accountability court program, and that is the decision that I'm here to make by preponderance of the evidence. I just want to take a little bit of moment and do a little bit of housekeeping because I stopped the hearing last time because although your questions were very organized and incisive, they were not achieving the goal you wanted them to achieve. And I need you to know that I'm making two decisions. I care about whether or not you have participated in the program in the past, and that is part of what you were doing. But frankly, I have another side of this, which is what really matters, which is, can you do the program moving forward? And with that, I just need you to know that you have to be a Spalding County resident because that was part of the agreement at the time. And so I'm just letting you know that these are my metrics that I'm using to decide. And that if you cannot participate, even if you were doing great leading up to this, if you can't participate in our program moving forward, then I will be removing you from the program. Do you understand that? Do you understand that it's both a look back a little bit, but it's a look forward a lot of it? Does that make sense?
It makes sense how you're explaining it. However, when I entered the program, I made it clear where I was living and my circumstance. I full communication. They knew everywhere I was, what was going on. And there was no documentation stating that I have to be a resident. I was just told that they want me to succeed in the program, and me being far away may prohibit that. And I explained that I'm determined to fix myself.
Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and swear everybody in. Ms. Hammond,
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just going to swear everybody in. Right, y'all both raise your right hands. You both solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
All right, I know y'all were sworn in last time. I'm just being really careful and protecting the record. Okay, please continue.
I explained to them that I'm dedicated to fixing myself, and the program would be a huge asset to myself, so that I can save my real estate license as well as get the mental help that I needed. And with that, I was brought into the program.
So the program though is here in Spalding County, and you're
Correct.
currently a resident of DeKalb.
Yes.
So help me understand how you're thinking that will work, because you're an hour away without traffic to come down here a couple of times a week, and so far that hasn't worked.
It actually has.
Oh,
I did
okay.
not, I didn't mess up until I entered into the hospital. I got sick. It wasn't through MS, it was the RSV going around. It's just that when I got sick with RSV, my body really, went down. But barring no RSV, I would have continued to do well in the program. Matter of fact, when I exited the hospital, even during the hospital stay, I was still in communications and texting back and forth and letting them know what was going on, sending them pictures of my hospital room.
Right.
All communication, and then once I got out of the hospital, I continued class with Miss Lanisha.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Do you have any intentions of moving to Spalding County?
Yes, the gentleman that just brought my food is actually my fiance. We've been together for a while. His actual family is here in Spalding County, grew up and raised everything.
When do you intend to move here?
As soon as the court decides in DeKalb County, I have guardianship of my granddaughter, and I got her into a really good elite school and everything in DeKalb County. She was supposed to be transitioning back to her mom. Huge hiccup, and now we're in the courts, and so it was supposed to be determined in December, which I spoke with Miss Leslie and made her full aware of what was going on. But in December, it was forward, like what we just did now.
Yes.
It was forwarded, and then they gave me a March date.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Okay, thank you for that. That gives me enough to understand kind of where you're going and what your goals are. So, all right, so procedurally where we're at is you were cross-examining Ms. Heffron. And so at this point, I'm gonna put us back into that procedural posture. And I need everybody to know that, I do have a noon hard stop, so we're gonna jump in. If we can get to the end of it, if not, we'll adjourn and come back this afternoon. So, all right, you may ask your next question of Ms. Heffernan.
Okay, do I stand or?
Oh, your preference. There's no jury present. I don't.
Okay, just to, kind of make sure we're all on the same page, Ms. Hepburn, out of the 12, drug screenings that you alluded to, at the last court date, we're really only talking about the 7 no-shows, dating from November 6th to November 27th, correct?
Correct.
Okay, during those no-shows, were you aware of my location and why I was not at the drug screenings?
Well, she's looking that up. Ms. Donna, will you hand me the exhibits, please? I'm in. All right.
Okay, so November 6th, no show. You had sent me a text that you had been admitted at Piedmont Hospital over the weekend that you tested positive for RSV.
Up until November 27th. That would be the end of the drug screenings.
Okay, November 11th, you said you were released from the hospital.
That was November 11th?
Yeah. You had a screen on the 16th, and you wrote me a text on the 17th of November that you're still receiving PT/OT, and still under doctor's care. They have not released you to drive yet.
Okay, so on November 11th, on November,
On November 11th, we sent you a reminder that you have a screening today at 3:30, and then you sent a text, I was released yesterday afternoon, called in at 6 a.m. and I learned I was picked. I'm not fully better. I'm at home help coming out. I have home help coming out to help me get back to where I was before getting sick.
correct. On November, let's see, the last date would have been, so November 30th.
November 30th, you didn't have a screen on that day. That was a court date. You didn't come to court.
Okay, November 27th. Because that would have been another no-show date, November
Yeah,
27th.
Road, I was called in the office for testimony today, and I called in this morning. I know this sounds simple, but today's goal is to get up, brush teeth, get dressed by myself, ride in the car and take granddaughter to school and get back in bed.
But I was still under doctor's care. So basically, the 7 no-shows are from November 6th to the 27th, when I was under a doctor's care. Prior to that, there were missed, but they were excused, correct?
They were excused.
Okay, thank you. Next one, group
Were
meetings.
you, hold on, I thought you were saying something else.
No.
Okay, we're good. Keep going.
Okay, group meetings, there were 2 dates, November 31st, excuse me, let me back up, October 31st and November 14th for the missed groups. It looks like there's 4 classes that were missing, but there were 2 dates, correct?
There were 8 missed classes.
I'm talking from October 31st to November 14th.
That was 4 missed groups.
Right, but there were just 2 days, correct?
Right, because there was 2 groups on
2 groups on each
each
day.
day.
Okay, correct.
Could you okay, so again, during those dates, I was under a doctor's care, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, on November 6th, you stated that there wasn't a sheet, self-help sheet turned in on November 6th, correct?
Yeah, I sent you a text that the self-help sheets are due today if you haven't already turned yours in. That was on November 6th.
Okay, I was still under doctor's care, correct? Still
Right.
recovering? Okay. But were the sheets turned in? Not on the 6th, but were they turned in? Did you eventually get them?
Let me check that real quick. I'm showing in my system that Ms. Claxton did not turn in her self-help sheet.
Okay. I have documentation where they were sent via text, which is how they've all been turned in. They were turned in to you on,
I mean, there is a possibility if they were turned in late, that it might not have got back into the system in that note.
okay, all
Because
right.
I go by the day it's due.
Okay, so they weren't turned in on the 6th, but they were turned in, but missed your calculations because they weren't turned on that date, correct?
They weren't turned in on the 6th, I can tell you.
Right, and they weren't turned in on the 6th because I was still under a doctor's care, correct?
Right.
Okay, thank you. On October 26th, you stated that I missed 2 accounting court dates on the 26th and November 30th, correct?
Right.
Okay. Was there communication given, or were there just complete no-shows, disappearance, don't know?
I sent out a text reminding all the participants that we had court on the 26th, and I got from you, I'm really sick, I tried to drive, but someone had to come get me.
Okay, so you were aware
Yes.
that, okay, thank you. November 30th was the next missed date.
Yes, I sent out a text reminder to all the participants, and you said you have a PCP appointment today to get charity on downtime. I also have home health coming out today, and you also are waiting for, the gas company to come out and get your gas turned back on.
Right, and just to give clarity on that text, clarity should have meant clear to be released. Because I was, well, I guess I didn't.
Okay, you misspelled that then.
Yeah, I misspelled that. It should have been clear to be released, because I was aggressively trying to be able to get back into the program because I was threatened I was being released. But prior to, let's say October 26th, I was in the program and okay, correct? Satisfactory.
Not entirely. On October 5th of 2023, you missed group of Lanisha as the CBI class. You stated you had overslept. On October 3rd, you missed sick and safety, and Miss Lanisha actually reached out to you, and she didn't receive a response from you when Lanisha.
Are you aware of all the
Hold on, she
communication?
gets to
I'm
finish-
sorry.
Sorry, she gets to finish her answer, and then you can ask your next question. She was mid-sentence.
Going back, October 3rd, you missed the sick and safety group. Miss Lanisha tried to reach out to you, and you didn't respond to her. And then on September 28th, you missed the CDI group. You stated that you missed it because you were without power. And then on August 22nd, you missed the Prime Solutions group. Miss Lanisha said that you signed into the group at 4:40 p.m. The group starts at 4.
Can I object?
What is your objection?
Because I simply said, was I satisfactory? I didn't ask her to. It was like a yes or no question.
Overruled, you may continue. She has the right to explain her answer. So she said no, and she's explaining her answer. You may continue.
Well, on August 22nd, Miss Lanisha said you signed in a group at 4:40. The group starts at 4. She didn't allow you to get in the group because you were late, and she had already met with you individually confirming the start time of the group was at 4.
Okay. Other than that, okay, let me rephrase that. Through the program, you're aware that participants struggle, but sometimes participants may struggle, but they fight through it and they correct themselves.
Yes, I answered that in the last hearing.
Okay. That's all I have to say right now.
Okay. Are you ready?
Nothing further.
All right, you may step down. You may call your next witness.
No additional witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, no rest.
We rest, yes.
All right, Ms. Claxton, you have the right to call witnesses or testify yourself in this hearing. So if you have any witnesses you wish to call, this is your opportunity to do so. If you wish to testify yourself, I will have you come up here and sit in the witness seat. You may provide me with any testimony that you may have. I do need to make certain that you're aware that any testimony you give will be subject to cross-examination by the state, and they are entitled to a thorough and sifting cross-examination, just in the way you were entitled to one with Ms. Heffron. So do you have any questions for me about what your options are? And if you choose not to say anything and you choose not to present evidence, I will not hold that against you. Do you understand that your silence cannot be held against you?
Okay.
So do you have any questions that I can answer for you about the procedure for what happens next?
Only that, because I'm not well-versed in this arena, I asked for an attorney at the beginning, and I was told that the program had an attorney, and I was like,
You
okay.
did not ask for an attorney at the beginning of this hearing.
No, I'm sorry, not this here. I'm at the beginning of acceptance into the the beginning of initiating the program. It was asked, did you want to be plead guilty, not guilty? Did you want to go into the program? Did you need an attorney? That initial day. Because I chose to go into the program to meet out in the hallway. When I came back in, the public defender was gone. And so I asked a couple of times, I'm not represented, how do I get represented? I was told that there was an attorney in the program. And then if I had any questions, I can, refer to that person. And through my uneducated self, I just thought that was okay. That's my attorney then for the program. I've learned that it's not, and so I don't have an attorney. I don't know if it's wise to go up there or not go. I don't know. All I know is that I was doing good in the program till I got sick. Sorry.
Okay.
I had, a couple of hiccups of missing, and everyone knows if I'm missing from somewhere, call me, Andrea, you know where you're supposed to be. Andrea, you're missing in action. And I try to make it up. So yes, I don't know at this point what I should do.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna put a few things on the record then, because having an attorney is one of our, dare I say, sacred rights as court systems here in the United States. What I'm gonna say is that I've had transcripts of each of our interactions taken down by the court reporter, converted into transcript form, and filed with the clerk of court. I'm looking at your plea where you entered into this program on September 28th of 2023. And in that plea, you asked me, you expressed some hesitation about entering the plea on page 2, saying, I've never been through this before and I didn't know. At which point you asked me a series of questions. I answered those questions about the procedure we're about to follow and what your options are. I explained to you about getting an attorney and how you have that right, and how you would enter the plea, but I would not sentence you unless and until you failed out of the program. And I said on page 3 on line 25, starting on line 21, I said, all right, so with that said, is that enough for you to feel comfortable representing yourself and entering this plea? Or entering half of the plea, as we call it, do you need to discuss that any further? And you said, no, I'm good, because I don't feel like I'm gonna be kicked out. And then I said, I'm gonna let you finish filling the right sheet. So I just wanna put on the record that I asked you about getting an attorney, and we discussed it, frankly, at length.
You said that I would, if I, oh, sorry.
Do you understand? So now I'm looking at page 8, and I said, do you understand that you have the right to have an attorney represent you? And you said yes. And then I said on line 12, and you're here representing yourself, is that what you want to do? And you said yes on line 14. So I'm just saying out loud that your allegations today that you were denied representation, effective representation, as far as the plea goes, I find is without merit. Okay, now you may have the floor.
I'm sorry.
You're desperate to talk. Just go ahead and talk.
Oh, sorry. I'm patient. I'm sorry. Please forgive me if I stated that I was denied. I don't think I was denied. And saying in the plea earlier, because it was explained to me, or I understood it, that if it got to this point, I can then get an attorney, or there's other steps that can fall into place. But that as of that day, was I okay with signing that paperwork and entering into the program? I said yes for that. But now that I'm at this point, I'm still at that nervous spot of going,
Okay. Well, I'm looking at the transcript from the first half of this hearing, and I do not show that you've asked me for an attorney before this moment.
it wasn't.
I'm doing a word search for the word attorney. Didn't come up. Looking for representation. Nope, not there. So I don't show that you've asked me for an attorney before this moment.
It wasn't to you per se, it was off record to different individuals that day. When I was going, asking for the accountability, her name was Laura. And when I stepped out that day, when I came back and the public defenders were gone, I was asking the question of what, we weren't in session then. So, that's when I got that information. I don't wanna draw this out. I do want to, I guess, express how much I want to be in the program. Sorry.
You'll hear those tissues. Ms. Margaret, there's tissues over here on the witness stand.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm not gonna hear testimony about any facts here. We're discussing a very procedural, technical question, which is that you absolutely have the right to have an attorney. And that I've advised you of that on multiple times during your plea. And here we are more than halfway through your hearing, and you're just now asking me for you to get an attorney. So did you apply with our public defender's office prior to this hearing to see about representation?
I was told.
It's a yes or no question.
I did not apply.
Okay, now you can explain your answer.
I was told that there was an attorney within the accountability court. So I thought, okay, that's the attorney.
Okay, did you notify me at any point before this moment that you thought you were supposed to have an attorney representing you at this hearing?
I explained through the accountability court staff. Nothing was directed straight to you, because I didn't
So
know.
I'm gonna take that as a no. You didn't talk to me.
Not to you, no, I'm sorry.
That's a no. And did you try to hire private counsel to come represent you in this?
I can't afford one.
Okay. Did you speak with any attorneys that provide free consultations to explain to them your situation?
No.
Okay. All right, anything else you want me to know about your representation situation?
No.
Okay. All right, well then I'm gonna find that you were advised at your plea that you had the right to have an attorney, and that you knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently waived the right to have an attorney. I'm gonna find that the state has rested and you're getting ready and you're now asking me about getting an attorney for the first time, even though the state's motion was filed on December 6th of 2023, which meant that you very likely received that in the mail somewhere after that. Today is January 25th. This is the second half of your hearing. You did not ask me about getting an attorney at the last one, or I certainly would have directed you to the public defender's office. You still have that right. And we're here now in the middle of this hearing, and you're asking for the first time to get an attorney. And so the answer, my response to that is that is denied. We're here, we're in this courtroom, we're having this hearing, and we're gonna finish this hearing.
Okay.
So, okay, that's it. What else do you want to put anything else on the record about that?
Maybe my communication skills aren't going over well, but I never wanted to try to waste the court's time or, push it, oh, now I don't have an attorney, now we're gonna have to extend it. That wasn't I just don't know.
Okay. I understand that you're not trying to do that, and I'm not insinuating that you are. I'm just saying, for a statement of a fact, you just asked me about getting an attorney. You've just stated you don't have one, which means I now have to make that decision. So we walked through me making that decision so that the record is very clear that I didn't make it arbitrarily or summarily or with a knee-jerk reaction. I made it after stopping and reviewing the file and determining what your history was in requesting an attorney. And the last item I have in the file is you waiving the right to have an attorney and choosing to represent yourself. And I'm just finding that that was your knowing, free, and voluntary choice. I'm not accusing you of wasting time or anything else. You're having the hearing you're entitled to have. But I'm just saying that I'm not moving this hearing off for you to go get an attorney. We're gonna finish this hearing and be done. So, now, we're back to the original question, which is you have the right to testify or offer other evidence. You can testify yourself. If you choose to testify yourself, you'll be cross-examined by the state. If you choose to remain silent, I will not hold that silence against you, nor will I allow anyone else to hold that silence against you. So do you have any questions about whether or not you want to testify or not that I can answer for you?
I guess I'll testify.
I'm sorry?
I guess I'll testify.
Okay, so if you'll grab whatever materials you want, come up here and sit at the witness seat. And I'm going to find that after a thorough discussion about testimony and cross-examination and everything else that you have made, a knowing, voluntary, and intelligent decision to waive your right to remain silent and to testify. Let me grab my pen. All right. I have. Yes, if we have to pivot to afterward. All right, Ms. Claxton, you understand I got a noon hard stop, correct? If we don't make it to the close of that, we're gonna come back this afternoon at 1:30. All right, you are already under oath. Grab that microphone, pull it up close to you, make sure the green light is on. Use it. It'll move to wherever you want it to be for you to be comfortable, and tell me what you want me to know.
I just want you to know, that, I've always been upfront. I've always tried to make good communication as to my whereabouts, what was going on. My whereabouts and what was going on. I have attended my classes and have made the journey from Stone Mountain to Griffin countless times. I know that I did have shortcomings, but I was still making it work. Up until I got sick with RSV. And even then, I was still trying to make it down here. Until I was admitted into the hospital. While I was in the hospital, I kept communication with Miss Lanisha and Miss Leslie at the most opportune time that I could. I know that there were days where I was under medication, and I didn't talk to anyone, but when I was able to, I kept in communication, told everybody what was going on. The moment I was discharged, I reconvened my classes because there were Zoom classes or over the phone classes with Miss Lanisha. And she was helping me, so. I don't want to lose my license. I just want to stay in the program.
Okay. Here's what you've given me so far. You tell me if I've missed something important. Are you ready? that you have always been upfront with the accountability court team and this court to the best of your abilities. You have always tried to communicate as often and as clearly as you could. You have attended all of your classes to the best of your abilities. You have driven countless times from DeKalb to Spalding to do everything you could to stay in the program and engaged in the program. And you did your best to make it work. It went sideways when you got sick with RSV. During that time, you continued to communicate with Lanisha, or Ms. Alford, and Leslie Heffern. And once you were discharged, you resumed your activities to the best of your ability. Did I miss anything in there that was important to you that you want me to make certain I pay attention to?
The date, the last court date of accountability court, when I was supposed to be here, I was really relentlessly trying to get discharged so that I could, get back, because I don't want to get in trouble. I was told that, if I didn't get discharged and there was an indefinite date of when I was going to come back, then it was gonna look bad. So I made sure that my health was okay. I made sure that I got the paperwork and turned in all necessary paperwork that the program was requesting of me. Again, at no time did no one know where I was at or what I was doing or what was going on. And I think that with the accountability accountability program, that's what you guys want your participants. Sorry, that's what you want your participants to do. Sorry.
I've written that down. All right, anything else you want me to know?
As far as being a participant, or excuse me, as far as being a resident of Spalding County, I was not told that it was a must, but that because they want their participants to succeed, being far away, that may be a hindrance. Also, I know that there are other participants in the program who aren't in Spalding County. On your website, it states that you all take participants from Spalding County and surrounding areas, which Spalding County is a metropolitan area of Atlanta, which is so is DeKalb County, Snow Mountain. So we're all connected. And if I'm determined to make the trip, then I feel like I should be able to stay in the program and, I can't use, it's too far as an excuse because I already know of the distance. And like I said, prior to me being sick, I was doing it 2 times a week, sometimes 3 times if we had accountability court, I was here. I pick up kids, not only my grandchild, but I pick up other children in the afternoon. But I made arrangements for that Thursday when I have accountability court. I have to be here, as a mom. You learn how to just do what you have to do to get the job done. And that's what I've been doing.
All right, anything else?
I just want to.
All right, Ms. Sunny, you may cross.
Ms. Claxton, you were not in the hospital in the month of October, correct?
I was back and forth, emergency rooms, with doctor's visits. My grandchild, was the first to get sick. And I communicated with Miss Leslie, of her sickness. So, sitting here now, I'm thinking that's probably where I then eventually got sick, because the whole house got sick. But in October to November, the flu, RSV, whatever, COVID, all of that hit my family.
But you were not admitted to the hospital in October, correct?
I was not admitted, but I was in emergency rooms.
One of the reasons that you missed a drug screen in October was that your daughter was in the hospital, correct?
Yes.
And another reason was that your car was in the shop, is that right?
There was a flat tire on the way down here, correct.
Another reason is that you had a doctor's appointment.
Correct.
Another one is you told Miss Heffron that you were sick, is that right?
That's when I started to get sick on I think it was the 20. I don't want to just throw out dates, but towards the middle to the end of October is when I then became really, really sick.
On October 5th, you missed group because you overslept, is that right?
Hold on one moment. Okay, so my daughter that I have a grandchild with, she went into the hospital, she had a doctor's appointment because she was pregnant. They ended up taking her straight from there to emergency. LOD, they induced her because her and her baby was having problems. So on my way down here for testing, I explained through text messages, hey, my daughter just is being rushed to the hospital. I took a picture of my location. I showed the billboard of the exit that I was at to show proof that I'm actually coming to Spalding, but I'm being called back because my daughter's being rushed. I explained to them what was going on just to get a sense of direction. Do I need to still come in and take my test, or can I go take care of my daughter? I was told, go take care of my daughter, keep us informed, just let us know what's going on. So that was October 2nd or 3rd. She ended up having her baby, and there were still medical things going on with her, but I stayed, as a mom should, by her side. So when I did have my meeting with Lanisha, I overslept, my body crashed. I explained, we talked offline, and I explained to her what was going on and apologized profusely, but that I gotta get my body back in rhythm of timing because my days and nights had got screwed with all of the other stressors of her being pregnant and having a baby. So that's why that happened.
I understand, but on October 5th, you missed group because you overslept, yes or no?
I missed group because I overslept with the knowledge of the accountability program already knowing what was going on.
And on September 28th, you missed group because you were without power, correct?
A storm came through, yes, and I have one of those houses, streets, whatever, in DeKalb County. The wind can blow crazy, and we lose everything, and we have to wait for it to come back up. And because you're by the mountain, you already don't have good cell service, so everything is Wi-Fi. So if you lose that electricity, you lose that Wi-Fi. So yes, I again made note to Ms. Lanisha of what was going on and what direction should I go in.
By my count, in the month of October, and again, that's a month that you were not admitted to the hospital, you missed 8 accountability court events, whether it was a drug test, a counseling session, class. You missed 8 items, and 4 of those were excused. Does that sound right to you?
I have not had time to look at all 8. Hold on one moment.
that, there's a sheet on the, well, I have notes on.
You may go get it. And whatever you review up here, you'll need to show to Miss Tony.
Oh, it's, exhibit 2.
Okay, I have a copy. Thank you.
Okay, can you repeat that question?
By my count, in the month of October, a month when you were not admitted to the hospital, you missed 8 accountability court obligations, and 4 of those were excused and 4 were unexcused.
Can you expound on the ones that were not excused in October?
Okay, on October 3rd, 2023, you missed Seeking Safety Group, correct?
One moment. Seeking safety, you said October,
3rd.
that was my daughter being in the hospital.
And although you profess to have engaged in excellent communication with the accountability court, at least in that incident, Ms. Lanisha could not reach you and received no response from you when she reached out to you. Is that correct?
That's incorrect.
Can you explain?
On October 3rd, I sent a text message to what I was told was a group text that we sent out to Ms. Laura, Ms. Lanisha, everyone in the program. So when I sent that communication out, addressing what was going on with my daughter, it should have gone to everyone. And Ms. Lanisha in our communication did explain, yes, it does go to everyone, but she doesn't check it, as frequently. So she didn't get the message until later. I then screenshot the message that I had sent to the group, the text group that I thought I was texting everyone to. I screenshot that same message. She said, yes, I see and I saw. I just didn't know at the time.
We've already covered October 5th when you overslept. That's another unexcused absence. On October 31st, you missed the Prime Solutions group, correct?
She did actually excuse those dates because we speak both through text, through class, and then on the phone. So we spoke. She said that she didn't get to the group text message information, but that she saw it and she saw the text that I sent. Once that explanation was given, she understood. She said, okay, keep me abreast of what's going on. And I have communication from her. I printed out my text messages from her as well, of her explaining to me that communication is key. And that's one of the things that I worked on with this program, is making sure.
In reviewing the documents, I've noted the following excuses that you've had for missing various accountability court obligations. No power, sick, doctor's appointment, car in shop, daughter in hospital, bit by dog, waiting for the gas company. Is there anything else that happened that caused you to miss your accountability court obligations?
Only that, because I am a single mom, I just do what I need to do, as fast as I can. When you say, is there any other excuse that caused me to miss? What dates have not been explained?
For any date. Is there any other reason that you missed accountability court obligations?
I tried to be as fluent as possible, that if I miss something or if, I'm at school and, I was supposed to be in a meeting, that was the biggest thing with me and Miss Lanisha. Andrea, remember where you're supposed to be, write things down. So if I was ever, I guess from your records, not where I was supposed to be, I quickly corrected it through communication and reconnecting in to the program and trying to do right the next time.
Wouldn't you agree with me that regardless of the reasons, and many of these, are good reasons, some of them may not be, but many of them are, that you have been unable to fulfill your obligations with respect to accountability court?
Untrue. No, I don't agree. I feel that for someone with mental issues, trying to get it right, there's gonna be issues. But if that person is trying to get it right, I'm trying to get it right.
And wouldn't you agree that perhaps you wouldn't have had to miss so many accountability court obligations if you lived closer, like
I
in
do not
Spalding
agree.
County?
I do not agree with that, because being bit by a dog could have happened in Spalding County. You could have still missed an appointment. A daughter going into labor, well, being forced into, what do you call it? Just life. Whether I'm in Spalding, whether I'm down the street. Families first, health is first. I learned through Miss Lanisha. Keep your documentation. Get to your doctor's appointments. Have your doctor's appointments. They come prior to any meeting. They come prior to any court date. Your health is number one. So go to your appointments, bring documentation. So that's what I did. The only thing that wasn't so health related was when I had the flat tire. But even in that, I took pictures, that was when my daughter was in labor. Even in that, I was on the text chat group that I knew of to explain to them what was going on. And should I still try to make it forward, or can I be excused and come in tomorrow? I think was my question. Can I get my tires, because it was taking a long time for them to change my tire. Can I get my tires fixed and come in the following day? I was told no, that I'd have to wait till I get called in again. So I said, okay. Anytime something comes up, whether I'm down the street and my tire goes out, if the tire shop is taking long, I'm always gonna seek direction from accountability court. What do I need to do to stay in good grace? I've never been, I see fines being collected here. I've never been issued fines during the court. I've never been scolded by the judge that I'm not doing well. It's always, I see you miss, or I see you trying. Try a little harder, but I see. I've never been one of those ones to lie, of not going to support groups, or just blatantly just not showing up. You know what I'm saying? I've never been that type of participant. It's always, I'm trying, this is what's going on. And I've always been told, I see you, keep trying.
And weren't you assessed $90 in fines for failing to call the drug testing line?
I was not assessed until I showed up to court last week, and I was given this paperwork, and I was puzzled because I've never been given court fines. And if you notice, all these court fines are from October 26th to November 29th, which is when I was in the hospital and when I was sick. So I wasn't aware, I never spoke to a judge, and no one ever called me to say, these are your fees. Never. I don't know who assessed them or how they get assessed, but every single one of these dates, I was in the hospital or recovering in the hospital. And the dates are kind of off because when I'm in the hospital, they give you heavy narcotics, heavy stuff. And when I'm home, because I am a grandma and mom, I try to come off of them really fast because you can't do that and be on that medication. So there were some days where I was just lucid and I just have to sleep through the withdrawal because they were so hard. So that's the reason, but nevertheless, through the 26th through the 29th, or 26th of October to the 29th of November, I was fighting, trying to get off that medication so that I can be here, so that I can be accountable, and I can be the mom, grandma, the person I'm supposed to be.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else you want me to know?
Not trying to keep repeating myself, but I don't want to lose my license as a real estate agent. I know I speak fluent, but I didn't graduate high school. That's the only thing I've ever accomplished in my life, so I don't want to lose it. And I'm trying. I've been trying. I want to continue to try.
All right. I hear you. All right. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. We'll gather up your items. Oh, anything else?
Nothing else, Your Honor.
All right. You may step up. Ms. Claxton, do you have any other, as you're coming around, do you have any other witnesses that you wish to call or evidence to present?
No.
Is it fair for me to say you rest then? You've presented all that, you can take that box with you, box issues. Is it fair for me to say that you've presented all the evidence you're gonna present? All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, they've rested. You have the right to rebuttal if you wish.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, and the evidence is closed. All right, let me go further.